welcome back to another episode of Hoot and Poop. So in today's video, I will continue the last portion on the management for Arqit. Okay, so if you have not watched the previous few videos, please go and do so. If not, you will not be able to understand or rather get the most latest information that I'm trying to talk about, and you will not be able to connect the dots of this whole Arqit so-called research process that I've done. Okay, so in today's video, I will be talking about the last four management. Okay, so now just a quick disclaimer, I'm a full, I do own shares for Arqit, so whatever I'm sharing are purely for educational purposes. Okay, it's not a buy or sell recommendation. Okay, so now we get that out of the way. So this is a sort of like a summary of who are the boards, who are the management of Arqit. So I have basically throughout the whole videos for the last two, I've covered about David Williams, David Bestwick, Nick Poynton, as well as Rocky Rochelle. I also covered Dr. Daniel Siu, Dr. Geoffrey Taylor, Daryl Burns, as well as Dr. Tahir El-Gama. Okay, so in today's video, I will be sharing about David Webb, Dr. Barry Childe, Paul Freenan, as well as Stephen Holmes. Okay, I didn't really go into details of Sir Ian Loban, General Steve Wilson, as well as General Veralyn, as well as Dr. Alison Vincent. Okay, the reason why I didn't go into that is because I look at what's their role in terms of what they play towards Arqit, as well as because he actually already gave us a few quick summary of what they do. So for example, Sir Ian Loban, actually he's quite a well-known CEO of GCHQ, which I also explained in the previous video what GCHQ is all about. It's basically a cyber communications for the government in UK. Okay. Being a CEO, my take is that he will probably be GCHQ for many years. In terms of experience in communication, cybersecurity, he definitely do have very good experience. But that's just it. That's how I see. In terms of General Steve Wilson as well as General Veralyn, to me, these two are military personnel from the way I read. So most of the time, usually for such cases, they will probably be in the military since the start of their career. So that's how it goes. Of course, why did I cover a little bit details of Rocky Rochelle? Because he is a COO. So this is something that I want to ask myself. Apart from military experience, what else can he bring to the table? But for these two, they are basically the director of it. They definitely bring a lot of experience in terms of security to them. But I thought, it's a bit of work, and I decided not to go too in depth on everyone. As for Dr. Alison Vincent, she's an advisor. So given her credentials, she's actually very experienced to advise them. So I just thought that this is quite a good summary for us to know. So without further ado, let's move into my last four guys. Now, the first person, David Webb. So basically, he is the chief software engineer for Arqit. So before Arqit, he was also the director of engineering in McAfee for 4 years. McAfee, as you all know, it's basically a antivirus kind of company. Okay, and then he founded this company called Arqit, which is basically a BitLocker recovery business for about 5 months, and after that he joined Arqit. So if I were to infer from this, is that from his experience in McAfee, he definitely have relevant experience from like security encryption. And after that, he moved on to set up his own business, which is Arqit, a BitLocker recovery. So basically, this guy has relevant experience in this encryption space. So him being a chief software engineer, although not much information, we shall wait and see. I do feel that he does have some synergy that he can bring to the table as well. Now, the next person is Dr. Barry Childe. So he's the Chief Innovation Officer of Arqit. So prior to that, he held various roles in HSBC for 8 years. During his time in HSBC, he was involved in fintech, cybersecurity, quantum, blockchain, cryptocurrency for HSBC. So if I were to think about it, Arqit is there to drive quantum encryption. Okay, and part of it is also to touch on the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. So being the chief innovation officer, and plus the fact that he's been in HSBC for 8 years, he definitely know about the regulations from the banks, as well as involved in fintech, cybersecurity, quantum, blockchain, cryptocurrency, others. He definitely have more than enough experience to bring into Arqit as the chief innovation officer. So I am really confident about him. It gives me a very good vibe about it. All right, the third person is called Paul Freenan. So he's the chief revenue officer. So what I know is that he used to be a director for the government service for Avanti, which is the same company as both the founder, which is David Williams, as well as David Bestwick. So looking at that, right, I personally think that he probably could have been invited by the founders to join Arqit, okay, as the to help out as the management. So this is what I can gather about. Honestly, how important whatever credentials he may have, it is crucial, but what matters most is that we have to monitor how Arqit perform subsequently from their first earning calls and moving forward and so on and so forth. So this is something that we have to take note. Okay. Now the last person, which is Stephen Holmes, he is the Chief Product Officer for Arqit. So prior to that, he was also the CTO for Virtuosa. I hope I get it correct. So which deals with blockchain technology, machine learning, AI, and fraud monitoring. He was also the CTO for ObjectTech, which also involves in blockchain security and facial recognition. And he founded fintech technology providing advanced cryptography, AI, and blockchain technology. So looking at that and looking about Arqit, I guess you probably can see some linking resemblance between what he has done and what he can bring to the table. So being a chief product officer, all right, he has wide range of experience for blockchain, for AI, fraud monitoring, facial recognition, cryptography. So he definitely has a lot of experience that can bring to the table. So that's a plus point. However, based on whatever I've seen in LinkedIn, okay, even though he has various relevant experience, but he kind of seems to be job hopping quite frequently. It's quite short-lived for every company that he has been in. Not sure whether what's the reason for him to leave. But looking at that, there's something that I will be a little bit pay attention to. Then we have to observe to see whether what's the movement like from their management a few months or few years down the road. So this is something that we do track, we do take note of. Okay. Now, with that, I actually come to the end of my 3-part series on the management for Arqit. Okay, I hope you enjoyed so far. So the reason why I wanted to bring this whole thing out and try to break it down to you is because I hope that you can, through my way of analysis and through my way of looking at all this, the management, you hope that you can able to link the dots together and to improve in terms of your analytical skills. Now, to me, investing, it's all about the people. That's how I believe in. Yes, numbers, financials are important, but the people that runs it is as equal as important as the numbers and the figures. Because if you have a good business but you don't have good people that runs it, in the long run the company will go downhill. But if the company has good people, they know what they are doing, they're running the business, and but the financials are not showing. Now this doesn't mean that it's a bad business. It could means that the managements are taking the money, purposely delaying their profit of the business to reinvest and improve upon what they can do and to for the future. So for example, Elon Musk, in his latest shareholders so-called presentation, he mentioned that Tesla will not be issuing dividends because he feels that dividends is actually showing that the company has got no better use of the cash that they have. So this is something that I agree, because for me is that I will be a little bit concerned if the company starts issuing dividends, because I feel that issuing dividends, it just means that you have no better use of where you want to get the money to be. I would rather the company takes the extra cash to reinvest to improve on where they are. And thus, whether or not this reinvestment pays off well, it all depends on the foresight of the management. So I hope that, by going through this 12 key management, in my opinion, okay, it does gives you some clarity on whether or not the people that joins Arqit, who are they? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they the I wouldn't say that, by my presentation, you will be able to get 100% answer, but roughly you are able to know that, this management, these people does make sense. Do they have relevant experience, and so on and so forth? So my own view, my own opinion is that I feel that the management do have very, very strong resemblance, or do have very strong synergy in what Arqit is doing. I mean, let's just look at the management one more time, right? If you look at it, I really think that they do have some synergy in it. They do bring a lot of experience on the table. Perhaps one key thing that you probably may need to take note of is that a lot of them came from the government sector as well as the military. Like, for example, we have like 1, 2, and 3. We have like 3 ex-military personnel. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, about 5. About 4 person from GCHQ. Yeah, you can take a look at here. So to me, it's that there's no issues between government and or military personnel. I have no doubt about. I have no issues with that. But probably I just need to take note of is that, what do they bring to the table? After staying in where they are for so long, what can they bring to the table? Whether are they able to cope with the dynamics of a startup business? Because in any case, Arqit is like kind of like a startup concept, right? So these are things that I have to ask myself and to look at it. So overall, my general take is that after looking through at all this management, I do have very good feeling about that. I do have faith in them executing that, but that itself will we need a lot of time to pan out. We need to monitor what's their progress in terms of tracking their earnings and so on. So these are my thought processes, and I hope to share it through these videos where it can help you to become a better investor. Okay, so with that, I've come to the end of my video. I really appreciate the likes as well as subscribe to it, and if you have any comments, please let me know. I do read through them. Okay, so with that, I wish you all the best and invest safe.